Hello fellow humans and welcome to Tank Destroyers, how to not play against them, but how to play them. Now the first thing you ideally want to do is understand that the T-30 is a heavy tank and that American rear armor is very thin. The whole is a very weird vehicle. It has two types of AP shells. They both basically do the same damage, the difference is only 15. So you could spam premium rounds with this thing all you wanted. Still wouldn't recommend it though, especially if you're low on credits. Now, playing Tank Destroyers isn't always just about camping at the back of the map. If you're knowledgeable enough, you can play them very aggressively, just like the Noppy is doing right here. Now, Noppy is sloppy sometimes, however, he's smart. He's not gonna over-push and overreact, which is the worst thing you can do. You need to know the exact amount of aggression. Now, ideally, you get that by doing it. The more you do it, the more you repeat it, the better you'll get it. If you learn from the mistakes that you're making, understand, okay, this works, this doesn't work. If you do that, boom, you'll get better. That's true for pretty much anything, same as it Blitz. Obviously, if you want to get good at something, do it a lot. So, unless it's something bad, then don't do that a lot. So, at this point, the M6Yo is very big-brained individual. He's pushing forward despite already being shot twice, and he's like, alright, I'm done, shoot me again. Now, one problem you have with Tank Destroyers is that they tend to not have turrets, obviously. Those that do have turrets aren't really Tank Destroyers. So, you wait for quite a while for the enemy to make a mistake, and you get still pinned anyway. Now, obviously that's a big problem. The easiest way to solve that problem is to simply always play near a wall. Because if you get your rear or your side up against the wall, the enemy can't circle you. Obviously. Especially if they're heavy tank, they're going to have a really bad time trying to get around you. So get yourself up against the wall and you'll be just about fine, which is lovely. And Nobby waited quite a while here for the 50 TP. And I mean, I cut that piece because just 2 minutes of nothing. But that's really how you should do it. I would have just pushed it and went for it because, I mean, I don't care, but that's not the way you should do it. Obviously, if you want to get good, you can't allow yourself that kind of goofery at the beginning. Once you're incredibly good, you can go back to clowning around because you'll do well anyway. That's how it is for me, at least. And now the Kronvang, well, he's dead. Now that's 5,300 damage. Hey, you haven't really done much. Just played aggressive, played very nice. And there are some people that think the Badger is OP. Then again, there's also some people that think the Earth is flat. So, people. Now, unfortunately, Tank Destroyers often rely on the support of their team, which means if you happen to not have a team, or if your medium tanks left their brain at home, then you might have quite a bit of a problem to deal with that. Now, the Badger, however, it does have 3 good things about it. And Jova is gonna display all of them. That is DPM, Depression, and Front Armor. Now, while I have Depression as well, anyway, there is nothing that can stop the Badger unless the enemy is somewhat competent. That has to happen first. That does have to happen first. Now, 4 versus 7 after 1.5 minutes. That's a very bad sign. But already done 2.7k damage. That's pretty nice. However, you have armor. That's only at the front. So if you have enemies around you, you don't want to have that. You want all the enemies in front of you. Because then you can angle towards them. Your front armor is effective. Because you can't angle towards 2 tanks at the same time if they're one's behind you, one's in front of you. That doesn't work. They have to be in a sort of 45-degree angle in front of you. Then it can work out just fine. That's what you always want to have. You never want to have an enemy that's behind you. You always want to keep them in front. And ideally, you always want to have an advantage as well. Whereas 3 of your team are fighting 2 of their team, for example. Because that way, you increase your chances of winning. Now, unfortunately, if the average IQ of your team is a negative, that is unfortunately going to not work out too well. Now, 3 versus 5, still very much doable here at this point. The 183, however, rightfully so, does take out the 62A. That's another very important component of playing well, and that is prioritizing targets. Who do you shoot first? Obviously, the 183 is going to do minor damage to the Badger because the Badger's face-hugging it. However, you can do hundreds of damage onto that E4, and now it is a 1 versus 4. Jova's on full HP, which is always nice. However, what is wrong with them? Has the medium tanks turned their brain off? If that Object 140 wouldn't have done that, this game would be over. But he didn't. He gave him just the way in. However, it's an IS-4, an IS-7, and an E4. And the E4 somehow manages to shoot the tracks. And at this point, again, you have that problem. They're all somewhere in front of you, but not quite, which means you can't angle towards all 4 of them. Now, you can count the E4's reload. You know when the E4 is going to be reloading, so you have to take that out. E4 is the biggest threat, has the highest penetration, does have the highest alpha damage, can one-shot you here. So taking out that guy is the number 1 priority there. Safety is your number 1 priority, obviously. If you're safe, if you're in a position where the enemy can't attack you, then you attack the enemy. Now, the IS-7 and the IS-4 are doing it exactly how you shouldn't. They're sitting together in front of a vehicle that has very strong frontal armor and extremely high DPM. And at this point, from 1v4, it is down to a 1v1 against a camo-less IS-4. Now, Jova's one shot here, which means any shot the IS-4 shoots is going to go through. Now, perfectly spotted out there. If he wouldn't have gone forward, the IS-4 might have had a chance to get a heat shell into the bottom plate. So, perfectly reacted there. It's things like that can save you. Now, 8,300 damage done already, which is absolutely bonkers and higher than everything I've ever done. However, there is still more to be done against that IS-4. And now, don't panic. Keep it steady. Obviously, in a stress situation like that, your heart rate might go up, and it probably will, which is expected. However, that should not cloud your judgment. Try to stay calm in your mind. So, use that extra oxygen supply to do good, right? Now, at this point, yeah, that might be a bit... yeah. But anyway. Well, now at this point, we have an IS-4 that is camo-less. Now, there are a certain couple of indicators, right? Camo-less, clanless, emoji avatar, player underscore, that tend to be slightly less skilled than the average player. Not true for all of them, though, but can be indicators, right? No camo, even on a heavy tank, can be an indicator for, okay, this guy's either very free to play or simply couldn't bother to put on a camo, and that, you know, doesn't end well. Now, he's shooting HE here, which might be a good decision for any other vehicle, but it's a Badger, and that simply doesn't work. The Badger in a facehug is extremely powerful, and all the IS-4 would have to do is disengage, get away, put a heat round into the lower plate. However, that didn't happen, and now 10,000 damage in a Badger. That's how you do it. Amazing game. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Goodbye.